August 13th, 2020. It was just a normal day in Osu. Top players were trying to FC this new ranked map named Today is Gonna Be a Great Day. MCY4 got a hidden double time FC on the extra diff of Immortal Flame. Then suddenly, this guy named Wise was restricted. Wise was a top 500 player that was suspected of multi-accounting. The restriction came 12 hours after setting a Sunglow DT choke worth 760 PP. The community thought that this was probably just because of the multi-accounting. It should be resolved soon, right? Little did they know, this was one of the first bans made on what would become one of Osu's most memorable moments in recent history. The Hall of Shame. On August 14th, 2020, multiple players in the top 1000 were restricted. This included people such as Worst Polakiu, who was one of Rafis' close friends, Riven, who mapped Yomiuri, Wise, who I mentioned earlier, and upcoming Canadian player Badgraph. They were restricted to the surprise of many. But there was one player who people were the most shocked by. The player who was deemed legit by multiple top players like Toy and Ryu K. His name was Akia, better known as Morgn. Before we get into this video, I would like to thank Praeludium once again for helping with some information from Morgn's early days, and Ray for helping me with some general information about Morgn. And of course, I have to warn you that some of the information presented in this video may be wrong. If you do find some info that was wrong, feel free to comment in the comment section down below. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The origins of Morgn can be a little foggy, because we don't really know much about Morgn. What we do know though, was that he was born in Latvia in 1999, before moving to England in 2009. Just like many others who wanted to train their aim, he found out about Osu from CSGO, and he started playing around 2012 and 2013. However, he was quickly banned because he was found using a trial version of AQN, also known as the Aquila network. AQN was a cheating program used by many cheaters around the late 2010s, but it got its start around 2013 before getting more popular by the end of the 2010s. Morgn wanted to ban himself because he wanted to stop playing Osu, so he used AQN to blatantly cheat, resulting in his ban. Morgn was unbanned in August 2016, but was banned once again because he had two multi-accounts that he had been using. These accounts were named Kazami, which he was sharing with someone else, and Vey. Morgn was caught because one of his friends had snitched on him. With no hope left, Morgn decided to create around 20 multi-accounts, and even went as far as hacking Milhior F's account, who was a part of Osu's staff during this time. However, he did say that he patched things up with Milhior F somewhere down the line. By this time, it was pretty evident that he probably wouldn't get unbanned anytime soon, because as Skill said at one point, he's probably broken every rule there is. Despite being banned though, he continued playing the game offline and he started playing on the private server Gatari. This is where he started getting noticed. Morgn was a player who was into maps with a higher BPM. This is because he was inspired by players like Sayonara Bai, HVIC225, Kokinia, Dungeon, and Legendary. Yes, that Legendary. He was essentially a speed player before it was as widespread as it is now. He continued honing his skills before becoming widespread in 2018 and 2019, where he started making friends with many different top players like Abyssal, Toy, Ryu K, and many more. This means his reputation was good among the Osu community, with some people only occasionally doubting him. Compare this to someone like Howlwater, who was being accused of cheating almost every score post. But the reason why Morgn wasn't being accused as much was probably because he would occasionally post live plays of his plays on his YouTube channel. For the average Osu player, it looked like it was legitimate and required no further investigation. Of course, this doesn't mean there was no suspicion. Some individuals continued to investigate and claim that Morgn was cheating, citing that since he was banned, he was probably guilty, and that once a cheater, always a cheater, especially when counting his track record in not only Osu, but apparently CSGO. Regardless of these claims, Morgn continued setting scores like his iconic 1011 PP score on this map, yeah, the map was kinda bugged. Today we barely have any score posts about him since he was banned. Luckily there are a couple of videos on YouTube that we can find that showcases his scores on maps like Euphorium, Uso no Hibana, Fake Promise, and more. Thanks to the Morgn archive for archiving these plays. You should check them out. Link in the description down below. On October 23rd, 2019, Morgn was finally unbanned after 3 years. Even longer if you count his previous ban in 2013. This generated some hype, with many players celebrating his unban. Immediately after he was unbanned, he started setting many 500 and 600 PP scores. Most of these score posts were decently upvoted in r/osu game, with most having at least 100 upvotes. He set his first 800 PP play on Hikari, which was worth 807 PP, on January 23rd, 2020, and multiple other scores like the first DT pass on If You Can't Hang, which nowadays seems easy for people like Henrik, but you know it was 2020. He also set an In a Night When Her Sorrow Resounds Around DTFC worth 728 PP and reached the top 50 on April 14th, 2020, kicking BTMC out of the top 50. Then he set his top play of 888 PP on Brawiak's Imagination. Which cemented him as a great aim and speed player. And he probably could have gotten further. Things were looking great for Morgn. He was looked up to by thousands of players. He was supported by many top players as legitimate, and he was number 38 in the world, with the potential of him getting into the top 20. Unfortunately for him though, he was caught. August 14th, 2020. The Wall of Shame was posted. A list of the top 1,000 players who were found cheating by Osu's newer and much stronger anti-cheat. Multiple top players were on that list like Badgraph, Wise, Riven, and more. But the community was shocked to see Morgn on the top of that list. Top players like Trailmix, Mighty Doc, and Abyssal were shocked at this revelation. Not only them, but thousands of the players that had looked up to him at some point in time. Some of them refused to believe it, but it was true. Morgn went on Twitter and he admitted that he was indeed cheating. He then went on to say that he was not going to stay around the community anymore, and that is exactly what he did. Morgn disappeared from the Osu community, deleted his apology, and most of his social media accounts. Many people think that this is the end of the story, but in reality, it gets deeper from here. Soon after he was banned, multiple people pointed out his questionable behavior, with people stating that he was a quote-unquote major dick, with allegations of him basically calling out other cheaters while he was cheating himself. This becomes more evident when you factor in Con 119's restriction. Con 119 was in the Wall of Shame, but his restriction happened days before the Wall of Shame was posted. Morgn, in his infinite wisdom, commented on this thread and said, "Disappointing." Yeah, this came back to bite him in the ass later on, with him being banned a week after Con 119. This is not the only case of him looking down on other cheaters and witch hunting them, as he did the same for Hide on Note in 2019, and probably many others along the way. But wait, there's more. There's a lot of evidence which says that Morgn was way worse than what I originally thought. Let's look at r/OC report. Search for any of Morgn's names that he had used, and there's nothing. But why? If there really is people suspicious of him, surely they would have posted about it on r/OC report, right? Well, they did. It's just that they were deleted. What people didn't know about Morgn was that he went as far as to dox people who quote-unquote wronged him. This included people who posted on r/OC report, with them getting threatened over a cheater in a fucking circle-clicking game. Not only that, but the doxing was not limited to the OSU community, as he also allegedly doxed people when he was a Fortnite and CSGO player.
He has doxed and harassed people in the past, and as far as I'm aware, not regretted doing it to this date. He is cut off contact with people he used to be friends with solely because they got caught cheating, and again while he is doing the exact same thing.
Right now, we truly don't know how much he doxed or accused over the years, and let's hope that nowadays he has changed and turned over a new leaf, and surely he won't dox anyone anymore. On June 9th, 2021, Morgn was unbanned. Ephemeral, a member of OSU staff, said that the reason why Morgn was unbanned was because if you don't provide people with a way out of their restriction, they'll find their way out somehow. And he also said that people can change, even though by that point, it had only been 9 months. Just like Howlwater, his scores were removed, and even after being unbanned, he stayed true to his promise and didn't play again. But the thing is, we don't actually know if he still plays the game. He does have a YouTube channel that is still somewhat alive today, but he only ever posts once in a while, and he only posts about Apex Legends and Valorant. He has probably moved on from OSU, and while he has pretty much erased most of his past online existence, his actions will probably be never forgotten by the OSU community. Morgn is one of the most interesting cheaters to have ever cheated in the game, having a persona that everyone looked up to while deceiving the community for years, being considered legitimate by the best of the best only to find out that the best were deceived as well. His restriction caused many players to be disappointed, as they had looked up to him in the past. While he has had a very shady past, he has most likely moved on from OSU. But the funny part is, we don't know that. For all we know, he could be lurking under a different name. Maybe he has already fooled other people. But as a guy who usually wants to believe in a person, I hope that he has already indeed moved on and changed his ways. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment, like, and subscribe for future documentaries like this. Join our Discord server, and once again, thank you to Stu for voicing you/MaxAxe, and Ray and Praeludium for helping me out with this video. Check out the newly established Morgn archive, link in the description down below. See you next time.